Hey, ComiConverge fans, Aaron Sagers here at WonderCon, and of course, Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is on its way back, and we got to talk to the cast. Yo-Yo is really one of my favorite characters because for someone that's already come in when this show has been established, we really watched her grow. And we see a bit of that in the premiere. So tell us a little bit about her hero's journey in this season, as much as you can.
Jeph said it with one word earlier in another interview, and it's change. And I think change is what makes us evolve as human beings. And as you saw, a lot of things changed in episode 1 of season 6. And I think we're going to see a lot of growth and a lot of her finding herself, finding a new Yo-Yo, a new position in S.H.I.E.L.D., a new position within her relationship. So, yeah, change is what we'll be dealing with the most.
I mean, what she was talking about earlier that I found just rang so true is just having to deal with the physical changes with her body in terms of where she is with her arms, how she's dealing with things on a political level. And politics don't always have to be, church and statey kinds of things. Politics in the workplace is something that's always very challenging. And then just on an emotional level, where she is in her romantic life. And so when you add all of those things together and how that affects the decision to be an agent, I think that's part of what makes S.H.I.E.L.D. such an interesting show, is that it's not just happening to Yo-Yo, it's actually happening across the board to every single one of our characters, so that as you watch the show and as you've taken the journey with us for 6 years and over 100 episodes, that you actually have a sense of, wow, this is worth the journey. Like I'm not just watching yet another procedural where at the end of the show, everyone goes, well, I caught the bad guy, and and then next week it just starts the same way again. This is a show that constantly changes and evolves.
Well, and something you just said clicked in my brain, and I'm kind of going to frame this question as I think about it, but the idea of like tragedy, personal tragedy versus global tragedy, it impacts us in different ways, and we process it in different ways. And something I think this show has done successfully is, like, even though we have the MCU and even though we have these global and even cosmic challenges that our heroes are dealing with, there's also the personal tragedies that you're going through, that our characters are going through. So I'm just kind of curious, has that been a challenge ever for you to balance, like, how these characters are impacted on a personal level versus kind of all the global events that are going on and influencing them?
I think you're talking about what makes Marvel Marvel, and it is one of the things that we do look for in all of our storytelling, is that it's not nearly as interesting to tell a story about a man in a mask or a woman in a cape if you don't care about that person. And so, Elena is somebody that we need to know and understand her background and understand what makes her go. And then, oh, by the way, she also has the superpower as Yo-Yo. And that's the way you have to approach it. If you approach it from the point of view of, you can do this, oh, and then, by the way, these are these other things that you do, you're not servicing the character the way that Marvel wants to service them.
Oh, he said it all. It's really true, and it's a reflection of, I think, the world we live in, right? Like, the outside world affects us, and something I love about S.H.I.E.L.D. is that even though you see these really strong human relationships within the agents, you also see them care so much for the human race and put themselves on the line and put their relationships on the line for the betterment of humanity, which is a really unique trait in humans. So it's something I love, that the EPs and the writers have been able to create these humans that care beyond themselves for others, but also have created these really strong bonds within their friends. And it's just a really cool reflection of the best of us as humans, I think.
There seems like there's a lot of mystery. There's people that may be dead. There's people that are not who they seem. Yeah. Set up kind of like what we can get from the season arc.
I obviously can say nothing because we're Marvel, but we try, like every year, we try to think of things we hadn't done. Yeah. And so our goal this year was to explore areas that we hadn't. Space is one of them. We're going whole hog into space, and then just emotionally for our people, they're all dealing with the loss of their leader in different ways, and we'll sort of see how that affects them moving forward and how it changes their emotional state and their ability to do their job.
Mm-hmm. Well, obviously, you know, we had the events of the Thanos snap, and now we're past that with this season. But did the global events kind of impact them less than the very personal events of losing Coulson, which I know is a separate thing, but like dealing with the tragedy of someone from your family versus, you know, half the world, does that impact them in different ways, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely are focusing on our mythology because, you know, we want to be able to exist on our own.
Right.
And also because, you know, they're going to wrap up their story. There's another half to that story of the snap, which we have yet to see. And so our show will come after that. And but in general, our approach has always been to be about sort of our people. With Winter Soldier, the way that we don't have $400 million, we have time, right? So our way to get the impact of that portrayal is to have one of our own turn. And sort of that's always been our approach, is how does it affect, how would our people be affected on a personal level?
Sure, yeah. And thanks for reminding me, there is another movie coming out, isn't there? Another Avengers, but something else is happening. Well, yeah, I mean, speaking about the budget, like when a sci-fi show or fantasy show or hero show goes to space, like it's exciting, it's this whole new level, but it's also like, oh crap, now we got to go to space. Talk a little bit about that delightful freak out that you have to process.
Well, we try, you know, we say with Jeff Bell, we say that every year we try to scare ourselves a little bit. We were very scared to have Ghost Rider on our show. We thought tonally it was a challenge, visually it would be a challenge. So we were scared, but we pulled it off. And I would say the same goes with space. Going into season 5, we did some of that with Future Earth, and you know, you're going to have aliens, you're going to have alien costumes. All that's terrifying on a TV budget. We have great faith in our VFX team, our costumer, our set deck, our set design. All our departments step up to the plate in a way that actually blows my mind. You know, and this year's another example. We said, okay, guys, we're doing it whole hog. And they have to invent new things, you know, and they do. And so that allows us as storytellers to just kind of cut the leash, because we haven't gotten to a place where they can't really pull it off. So it allows us to go to space. Yeah. It is scary, though. You're right. You know, when you're like, okay, so we walk into a room full of aliens. You know, it's much easier to say, we walk into a room full of cops. You're like, I know what a cop looks like. Like, what does this alien look like? Oh, God, you know. So.
And every alien, at least in a show with this kind of mythology, connects to something else. So it's like, wait, are we using that alien or that alien?
Yes.
Yeah,
There's a lot of that.
I'd say you guys have done a fabulous job as a fan, like someone that enjoys the show and enjoys the comics. I get scared, too, when it's like, Ghost Rider, are they going to be able to pull that? Oh, they pull that off. Space? Good. Yes, they'll be able to pull it off. Hey fans, thanks for hanging out with us at ComiConverge, where we are all about comics, cosplay, and caring. I want you to subscribe for more videos and check us out on social.